There's a thing that you do, which I, not long ago, I guess it was January, I was hanging with Ben Vereen, and we were talking. He's a wonderful cat. We were talking a little bit about the, I forget what he calls them, tenacity, I guess is what he calls them. And he does these motivational talks. And I don't have to tell you, Ben's been through some stuff. You do these talks too, however, Dare to Dream lectures. And if you give me a little insight into what informs those and maybe just a kernel of knowledge that you share with audiences during that presentation.
Well, it has still to do with being an ambassador and a spokesman for the landmine clearances, because it's all based upon my life and what I've done, good and bad, and I've written about them in my books, in my 2 books, and it's kind of started when I wrote my books. And that basically is what Dare to Dream is. It's all about we the Supremes starting to sing very early, and all of our travels, the things we encountered, which many people encounter, the segregation in America back in the 60s, how hard it was that sometimes we would work. In fact, I was just invited to a very dear friend's memorial, Dick Clark, and it brought back to mind some of the tours we did back in those days. We were singing rock and roll, but the audiences were white on this side and black on this side, and then when the concerts were over, everybody would be together. The music brought everyone together. So, the Dare to Dream is all about that, how those kind of things have happened in life, not just to me, but, to people. But I was fortunate enough to have kept diaries. So I wrote about them when I was in high school. I remember my English teacher, Mr. Boone, one day said, "Miss Wilson," and I was in the 12th grade. He says, "I know you're still singing with that little group called the Primettes." That was before we were the Supremes, right? He says, "Well, I just want you to know that if you do not get past my class, you will not graduate, and you will not be able to go out and sing with those, with those."
You will not be a primate anymore.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So I buckled down and got a good grade out of his class. It was an English class. And so when he called me in just before we graduated, he says, I think that instead of singing these little songs and going down to Motown, you should become a writer. So that's how I started writing and keeping diaries. And after the diaries, things got a little lean for the Supremes when, Flo left, Diane left, and I was there, and I said, maybe this is a good time for me to write my book. And so I did. So I kept diaries throughout all of our travels everywhere, and all of my hardships, and and Flo died, and just all kind of things. And that's basically what Dare to Dream is all about. It's just my story about what life is, and it can be up and it can be down, but you always have a second chance to dare to dream, or a third time to dare to dream, so that's what it's all about.
I love it. No, it's very inspirational. I mean, there's a lot about overcoming that it's invaluable to other people. So I appreciate getting to hear that 411. I got this little bit of stuff. I am really fortunate. Yeah, I'm pulling out something good here. I get this listener, Steve, the mystery emailer. In my 10 years of doing radio here in Honolulu, Mary, I've had 2 listeners who anonymously contribute local historic music facts to me, so that when I do these interviews, I'm a little bit more informed. And so Steve...
He's correct. Let's see if Steve is correct.
And often, and I know you've done so many gigs and have been privileged to perform all over the world, so I don't expect that you're necessarily going to remember these. But in the event that it brings out any interesting memories, I just want to take a run through Steve's stuff. May 19th to the 26th of 71, the Supremes, including yourself, came here at the Polynesian Palace of the Cinerama Reef Towers Hotel in Waikiki. You took a night off to perform at the Blaisdell Arena on May 23rd. Any memories of that from 71 or no?
All I can say is I know I came here, but that's about it. I don't remember anything.
Steve's good, huh?
But he's good. But I would like to talk with him myself, because I like to remember those kind of things. I'm constantly updating my books. And so when things come about and they ask me, I'm like, well, I don't know. Do you have that? In fact, someone just sent me a picture of me and Flo in, I think it was Montreal. And that I didn't, have any. I remembered being there, but I didn't have any remembrance of what we did.
Or any souvenirs of it.
Right. So these kind of things that Steve has written, I would love to know just what we did.
I will give you the sheet. At least you'll have the very least you'll have a little rundown of your local history.
How do I say thank you again?
Mahalo.
Mahalo, Steve.
And I'm sure he'll dig that. Another time, April of '72, you guys returned. You did 2 nights at the arena, part of the entertainment for the 16th annual Modern Living Show. April of '72. No, any memories of that?
Nope.
And I don't blame you. I mean, it's tough. I believe, but sometimes I'll do this and people will go, "Oh yeah, that's the night that Willie Nelson came backstage and there was this big brawl and blah blah blah." 70.
I do that sometimes.
Right. No, I know. That's why I'm like. It's why I always. It's good, and it's nice to get a little context on the record too. It helps to document it for your book. You'd be like, "Oh, I can check his video out. It should be there. The dates." June 24th and 25th, you came back again. You did the Hilton Hawaiian Village. If it isn't show, you do remember that one?
I kind of remember being there, but I don't remember anything about it.
Is there anything about playing in the islands that not just playing here, perhaps just visits here on your own, that have you had any remarkable experiences even as a tourist here?
Oh, I've had some great ones. I mean, we did a corporate show, and it could have been later. It could have been myself after the other girls left, but it was up in the what you call it, the rainforest. And they brought us, this corporation brought us up there, and we had an absolutely fabulous time. That was so beautiful. I remember that. And then sometime during the 70s, we were here, and I recall going to somebody in our band had relatives there, and we went into their, into the not villages, but way out of the city, and we stayed there for like a week, and it was so more. One thing I do remember, isn't there a really big mountain that everyone jumps, not mountain, you jumped into the water, you have a rock.
Yeah, Waimea Bay, probably.
That's where we were. I remember that. It took me like an hour to get up the courage to jump down.
I wouldn't do that one either myself. It's not far from where our camera person, Aileen, lives. So those are some good memories from Hawaii.
Yeah, I remember that. I mean, some more, lots more. So if anyone else other than Steve remembers things that we did, please let me know. I'd love to write it in my book, in my updated book.
MaryWilson.com. Please submit any and all memories, and she'll throw you a little love in the book when it comes out. Another gift of yours, and are we okay with time? Are we okay for a few more questions?
Come on here and get me. I'm fine.
Okay. All right, let's just double check it. You had some incredible producers over your life, and we could do like a 2-day interview. So I'm just trying to get the highlights that I can possibly think of in here for just a few minutes that we have. Smokey Robinson, Stevie Wonder, Berry Gordy. Are there unique? These are just some cats. There have been many, and just because you have a big name doesn't mean you did a great job, or vice versa. Are there memories or unique gifts that these cats brought? Smokey, for instance. You think back, man. Well, the thing I really get out of the times I've gotten to interact with him are.
Well, I'll tell you about Smokey. Smokey Robinson of the Miracles produced a lot of the. Well, we were still kind of primates, but we were Supremes already. Early in our days, he produced some of our first, I think, 7 songs that we released. None of them were hits, but they were all very beautiful songs. At the time, he had been writing for Mary Wells, and so some of our music had that same kind of flavor as Mary Wells very early, and he was absolutely gorgeous to work with. I mean, he was just wonderful. And then we had Later, Smokey produced for me as an individual on some of our 70s material, and it was Floyd Joy. Floyd Joy, you're the man. And he's been really prominent in our lives in terms of producing. However, Holland Dozier Holland wrote our 10 million selling records. So that was, of course, I have to give a shout out because they were just tremendous. I was just with them at Dancing with the Stars the other night with Gladys Knight, and it was just so fun. It was like a family reunion, meeting up with them again. It's just, I must say this though. I have a new recording called Life's Been Good to Me. It's really good. I mean, it's so good. And what's unique about it is that the Holland Group are the company that my producer is from. He actually works for Holland Dozier Holland, and he came up with this beautiful, beautiful song, and it's being released next month.
Is that going to come out as a single or attached to other material?
Well, first it'll be a single, and then after that there'll be a CD. Yes, and I've recorded everything already, but they'll release. Well, right nowadays they don't have any more mom and pops record stores that you can go to, so you're going to have to download it. I think it's really kind of, to me, it's very odd. I'm not used to that.
It's getting scary. A theme, a recurring, and it's a question I have for you. You have this new project coming out, and you've mentioned it yourself. It's going to be a download. 2 questions. Is it going to be on a label? And do you think that hard copy CDs are almost a thing of the past unless it's like a collector's item?
I really hate to even think about it because it's as you said, scary. I mean, I remember going to the record shops, and you look at the album cover, you read the liner notes, and it was this beautiful cover, and it was just, what sometimes it was a vinyl, and sometimes they were red. I think it's going to be a thing of the past with the CDs. It's really scary, and I don't know what to say about this business right now, what's happening, or where it's going. None of us know. You said something about a record company and all. I think all we'll have is a distributor, right? So I don't know if there'll be a record company. It's very scary.
They're sort of being written out of the equation in a lot of ways. And another thing that some artists do, and I don't know if it'll ever be the case for you, is you see artists just giving it away. I mean, it's you're right. You see like bands it is.
It's scary if you have to give away your artistry. Oh, I'd hope not.
Well, you know what a cat pointed out to me one time? I don't know if this has ever occurred to you. Some dude I was interviewing, a major cat, I don't know if on your stature, but I remember they said something to this effect. They said, well, the period of time that artists were able to sell recorded music compared with the period of time artists were able to play music live and make money, they're really different. The amount of time that people have been recording music and selling it is just like a few decades considering the length of music. Yeah? Does that make any sense?
I mean, it does, and it's true. I mean, and we're at the end of it right now. It's like, okay, that's over. What next? And that's, but then you look back in the old days, the same thing. Every generation, I think, has their own little niche of how things go, and then it changes for the next generation, and then it changes again. So, what about big band music? There was a time when that was like over, then rock and roll came in. Right. Okay, so now, rock and roll's gone now. Here comes hip hop. I think that's the orchestra wanted me to rehearse now.
That's the best way to get a call. I appreciate it. Hey, keep this in mind. When the record comes out, maybe you do a phoner. I'd love to help you promote it and reach an audience with that.
Great. Thank you so much. Give me your card.
I will give you my card.
Me and you.
And honestly, you've done a million of these. Is this held up in your standards? Is this an okay interview?
Oh, I think it's great because you did so much, research. I've been interviewed by major people on TV. They had no clue to who they were talking to, and that's really sad.
I appreciate your time, Mary. It's an honor.
Thank you very much, David.